Building muscle is tough. It means spending time and energy at the gym with the intention of putting uncomfortable amounts of mechanical tension on your muscles to stimulate them to grow. That being so, when it comes to maximizing your muscle growth progress from your time spent at the gym, it's a bit more complicated than that. In this video, while showing you footage from my latest full body gym workout, I'm going to share with you 4 tips on how you can spend your time working out at the gym to build muscle as fast and efficiently as possible. These tips are ones that I don't hear fitness professionals talking about nearly enough, and yet they can very well be the difference between making unimpressive versus exceptional gains. I suspect that if you were to focus your attention on these 4 tips alone, you would maximize your rate of muscle growth pretty darn quickly. Before we get started, if you find this video to be helpful, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. Okay, let's dive in. Let's get started with tip number 1. Aim to get really strong at the basics. Something I learned from my background as a classical bass trombonist is that the best musicians truly become masters at their instrument by getting exceptionally strong at the basics of music. In music, that means practicing the fundamentals, like playing with good intonation, having good control over articulations and slurring, having good breath control as a wind instrument, or great bowing control as a string instrument, being able to play your scales, arpeggios, and other patterns fluently, and so on. See, at the end of the day, all music repertoire is made up of the basics. And being able to perform it at the highest level takes being strong at playing those basics. When you see an incredible concert pianist perform a mind-boggling piece of music, one where you can hardly wrap your head around it, the pianist is able to play it at such an incredible level through their mastery of the basics. I mean, largely through being able to coordinate their skill of the basics with a complicated piece of music, which at the end of the day is a compilation of the basics. This principle within music is the same when it comes to muscle growth. Building muscle is driven through exposing your muscles to mechanical tension. And what's the best way of doing that? Through getting skilled or strong at the basic functional movements of each muscle you want to build. That's horizontal pressing movements for your chest, squat patterns for your quads, hinges or leg curls for your hamstrings, and so on. Rather than becoming needlessly distracted from overcomplicating how you spend your time in the gym, it's more prudent to pick just a few basic movements for each muscle you want to target and aim to get really strong at them. Learn how to do them with good technique and try to get better at that. Learn how to train hard with each of those movements and aim to get better at that. Just like becoming a masterful musician, building lots of muscle stems from getting really, really good at the basics too. Tip number 2, try to detach yourself from any overfixation you might have on lifting super heavy. Now, it's true. Progressively lifting heavier over time is a very predictable way of driving for muscle growth. So you should actually make a point of aiming to lift heavier to build muscle. But notice I suggested to detach yourself from an overfixation of lifting super heavy. See, one of the biggest mistakes lifters make in the name of building tons of muscle is getting to a point of lifting too heavy, to where they are no longer moving with passable technique, they move with a lack of control and potentially a shortened range of motion. When at that point, despite lifting heavy loads, you would actually build less muscle, not more. See, if technique is poor, the mechanical tension on your muscles will actually be less, not more. And you know what that means? Less muscle growth stimulus. Aiming to lift heavier might come from a place of desired self-betterment or a place of unknowingly inflating your own ego. Either way, it's worth being mindful not to lift too heavy. Lift heavier, yes, but only heavy to where you still have the capacity to move with good technique, control, and with a full range of motion. Tip number 3, focus on quality over quantity. Okay, here's some proposed logic for you. To make your muscles grow, you should make them do lots of work. So that would mean you ought to do lots of reps, sets, and exercise sessions themselves to build muscle. What do you think? Does that make sense? It makes sense on paper, but the logic doesn't always come to fruition in practice. Again, muscle growth is driven through exposing your muscles to higher amounts of mechanical tension over time. Ironically, you can do tons of reps, sets, and training sessions without actually doing nearly as much of that as you might think you are. This was actually something I learned the hard way during my time as an aspiring classical bass trombonist. Yes, here comes another music reference. For years, I spent my time practicing hours and hours every day. Tons of practice, volume, if you will. Though I did improve at the instrument, in retrospect, I didn't improve nearly as much as I could have because I wasn't spending that time practicing efficiently. In other words, I was focused more on quantity, or the time I was spending practicing, the amount of time I was spending practicing, compared to the efficiency of how and what I was practicing. The same principle holds true when it comes to building muscle. If you spend your time doing a high quantity of reps and sets and training sessions, but with a lack of efficiency or effort, then you will likely grow less muscle compared to if you were to spend less time and volume, but train with higher effort and attention to detail. And tip number 4, focus more of your attention on bracing your midsection when lifting, especially when doing the big technical compound lifts like squat patterns, presses, rows, and hinges. I'm not exaggerating when saying that this tip has the potential to be an absolute game changer for your lifting progress, and in turn, your muscle growth progress. See, your midsection kind of acts as the foundation of your body when you're lifting. If you brace it, it keeps your spine in a sturdy, well-supported position, which maximizes your stability. And the more stable you are, the more force your muscles will be able to produce. I'll speak for myself and say that this exercise technique has been an important part of my own progress over the years. Funny enough, I find it helps to focus the majority of my attention on bracing my midsection when in the middle of performing an exercise sometimes, rather than the main movers themselves. Like when doing Romanian deadlifts, for example, I'll almost focus more of my attention on keeping my midsection braced compared to how I move from the hips. Or when I do a military press, I'll focus more on bracing my midsection than on pressing the weight over my head. Give it a shot the next time you work out. It might have a massive positive impact on your muscle's ability to produce force. And you know what that means? More muscle growth. And there you have it. 4 muscle growth tips that have the potential to maximize your muscle growth progress that aren't talked about nearly enough. 1, aim to get really good or really strong at the basics. 2, try to detach yourself from the urge to lift too heavy. 3, focus on quality over quantity. And 4, focus more of your attention on bracing your midsection when you're lifting. At this point, I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know your comments, insights, questions, and personal experiences in the comment section below. Before this video comes to a close, I want to quickly let you know about the work that I do. When I'm not making YouTube videos or Instagram content, I work full-time as an online physique coach, where I help my clients to accomplish their muscle growth and fat loss goals by optimizing their approach to strength training and nutrition, and I coach them through the process. I've been doing this work for over 7 years and love helping my clients to not only transform their bodies, but ultimately their lives. If you've been considering getting some help with accomplishing your own physique goals, feel free to hit the link in the description below, where you can learn a little bit more about the work that I do and how I can help you. You can even use that link to schedule a free video consultation with me. If you have any questions about my coaching or how I can help you, just email me at sam@jadeathletics.ca. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.